Hello, hello, my veggie friends. Welcome to the 7th episode of the Veggies Abroad Vegan Travel Podcast with the chief veggie pusher, myself, Rebecca Gady-Sawicki. Some of you may already be familiar with Veggies Abroad, but for those of you who aren't, we're a full-service vegan travel company that offers custom planning services, small group trips, and even a helpful blog chock full of just about everything a vegan or veg curious traveler could possibly need to plan an adventure. And I've recently added this podcast to the mix. With this podcast, I hope to bring you guys the inside scoop of what vegan, vegan-friendly, and eco-friendly businesses are doing in the wide world of travel. Plus, I'll give you the full download of what's going on behind the scenes at Veggies Abroad. All right, so at the end of January, I sent out a super awesome newsletter. They're all super awesome, by the way. If you're not getting them, you're missing out. We will drop a link in the show notes for any of you who want to sign up. But getting back to the newsletter. In it, I told my lovely traveling veggie tribe that I'm working on new ways to help them this year. One way is with this podcast. I plan to do an episode every once in a while dedicated to all of your traveling and or vegan questions and concerns. You can ask me anything. It could be about traveling with non-vegans, the importance of travel insurance, what snacks are the best, how to take certain foods through TSA, or whether global entry is worth it. I think you get the drift, but I need to know what's on your mind. So send me an email. We will also put that in the show notes. But if you have a pencil, it's simply Rebecca@veggiesabroad.com. That's not all. I am also planning some fun and helpful travel webinars that will be free to subscribers. So in order to find out more about those, you'll have to make sure you're on that email list. I'll cover general travel topics, maybe bring on some experts, highlight certain destinations, and more. Don't miss out. Okay, so what else is happening? At the time of recording this podcast, I was nominated as a finalist to speak about using travel as a form of activism at the Vegan Women's Summit in LA this spring. The decision window is short, so by the time you listen to this, we will all know if I made it. Honestly, I am just really honored to be nominated amongst so many amazing women. When I got the email, I thought, me? Are you sure me? Did you send this to the wrong person? If I don't get selected, it's okay. I have come really far to even be considered, and that seems pretty impressive to me. I am also working on details of attending a couple of events this year as an exhibitor, which, let me tell you, is a whole new ball game. I have gone down way too many banner and flyer rabbit holes trying to prep for this. So if any of you will be in the Toronto area at the end of March, come say hi at the Planted Expo or at Detroit's Veg Fest at the beginning of June. Also, come say hi there. It's really nice to meet people in person. Okay, so now on to today's episode. I'm going to venture a guess that many of you are very familiar with the organization that today's guest is with, HappyCow. For over 25 years, HappyCow has been helping veggie lovers find vegan and vegan-friendly places to eat around the globe. They are the OG of vegan travel. I got the opportunity to spend some time with some of the HappyCow staff while in South Korea, and it was so interesting to hear about their evolution as an organization and all of the things that they're doing to make the world more vegan-friendly. And I knew all of you would find it interesting too. So joining me today is the head of HappyCow, Bartek Filipowicz. Bartek's vegan journey started in 2016, and soon after that, he met HappyCow at a vegan soup shop in Bangkok. As you can imagine, they were fast friends, but Bartek often wondered how could we improved. He joined the HappyCow team in September of 2022 as a product and commercial lead after building multiple successful products for Base CRM and Zendesk and leading engineering and product teams. He was happy to finally use his experience for good. He transitioned to leading HappyCow in August 2023. He is a software engineer by education, but his true calling is making products that genuinely help people. So let's get over to our interview with Bartek. Hello, Bartek. Thank you so much for joining me today, especially given the fact that listeners won't know, but you are 12 hours ahead of me. You are on vacation in lovely Thailand, in which people may hear some of your wildlife friends in the background. So it's so nice that you've taken time out to chat.
Hi, Rebecca. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So for listeners who aren't familiar with HappyCow, can you give us a little bit of an overview and share the inspiration for its creation?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So HappyCow is an old cow. So it's actually been been around
Old cow.
for.
Like, how old of a cow are we talking here? Like, she needs secure social security.
I'm actually not an expert in cow's age, so I wouldn't know. I probably should have prepared for that. But she is 25 this year, so it's already been
she's not
25.
old.
Well, I don't know in cow years, right? Who
Oh,
knows?
okay, fair.
In human
I was going to
years,
say in human years, that's not very old.
no, that's true. But in cow years, who knows? I definitely don't. But it seems like she's been around for a long time. So HappyCow was created in 1999 by Eric, our founder. It was created initially as a directory for vegan travelers, vegan and vegetarian. So this came from a personal need of Eric, who was traveling to, I think the story is that he was in Thailand and he couldn't find vegan food or had issues with it. So he decided to create this web page, this directory, and he imagined that people, and he would add stuff there, and people would add stuff there. And so it grew. Over the 25 years it's been around, it grew from just a website to an app where you can add your own, like you can contribute to the database, you can add your reviews, you can add pictures. Now we also have social features. So it became this, I would say, a cornerstone of a vegan travel community. So right now we have millions of users every month. People rely on HappyCow when they travel, when they find vegan food, especially in areas where it's harder to find vegan food. This is where HappyCow comes to help, but also, also in big cities and pretty much everywhere, HappyCow is the best resource, in my opinion, to find vegan food.
That's pretty incredible to start off with just kind of somebody's webpage, and because Eric had an issue with finding food, and now it's kind of grown into this behemoth in the vegan community. Do you think that was always Eric's intention with starting it?
I don't think so. I think it was just a project that he made for himself and he shared with everyone. And like it grew almost on its own, right? It grew because it had users. It grew because it had contributors. Right now, our community is very strong. We have over 500 ambassadors, so people who are our top contributors. They take care of the cities where they are at. They are experts on the ground. So we have users and we have ambassadors, and all the community is very active in creating HappyCow. And I think even like HappyCow has its own life. It grows with the community and with the needs of the community.
That's pretty fantastic. So with that growth, challenges have to have come along the way with kind of going from just someone's personal webpage to now an app and a website and having ambassadors. What have been some of the challenges along the way with growing that to this level?
Well, definitely a lot of challenges. So I can speak for the recent history because I've been with HappyCow for a year and a half, and actually I've joined on because of those challenges. So HappyCow, we had COVID happened, and COVID happened to everyone, but it happened to travel industry especially. And HappyCow was always a grassroots company. It was created by Eric and by community. We didn't have a good business model. We didn't really look for this. Like HappyCow wanted to serve the community, but not earn from it, let's say. So after COVID, we realized that we actually also need a business model. We also need to be sustainable and to grow and to serve the community better. We need to make sure that we know how to do it, that we know how to do it sustainably. So this is where I came in. So, one of my roles in HappyCow right now is how to build it in a sustainable way, in a way that serves the community, in a way that enables us to grow more, to grow faster, to listen to community better and to predict what will happen in the future. So not only follow the community, but also lead the community in a way. So like, I think this is the business model and the way a company can survive for 25 years. And we have to pay for servers, we have to pay for development, for every change that happens. There are people behind it that have to put work into it. So this is challenging. How do we combine those two aspects? How are we a business and how are we a community service at the same time? But I think we're finding a good way to balance it out. At the core, HappyCow always will be about community, always will be about service. It will never become a business just for the business's sake.
That is a challenge, and I think I've seen this happen with some other businesses, where they start off as a very niche thing, someone's kind of personal project, and then it grows because there's a need for it. And there's always kind of a struggle within, society when they see this change because they've always had something for free or they've always had easy access to it. But I think on the flip side of that, people have to realize if you really value something, if you want to keep it around long term, if you want it to be good and you want the people behind it to also be valued, sometimes that comes with a price tag and not everything can be free. That can be a really difficult, I think, bullet to bite for a lot of people. And maybe people are learning it since COVID. Maybe not. I think it's one of those things where I guess you can't please everyone, right?
That's a good point. Yeah, definitely. If you had something for free, it's much harder to start paying for it, right? Because you get used to it. You kind of, I don't know, I would feel entitled to it. Like, why is someone now demanding that I have to pay for something that was free forever or for a long time? I think the key for us is to build it in a trustworthy way, so that people know that whatever they're paying for HappyCow through any of our business means, it's actually being well used for the community, for the growth. Our vision is not to stockpile money and then build a castle. It's
a
actually
castle for the cows, maybe.
Yes, of course.
I knew it. That was always your goal in the background.
It is my secret plan, but it takes a lot of steps to get there. But it is how do we become this enabler for the community? How do we become this enabler for the vegan movement? So, how do we share the knowledge within the vegan community? How do we make sure that starting a vegan restaurant or starting a vegan business, it's not easy, but people do it in different places in the world. And how we as HappyCow can become this tissue that connects it, this tissue that connects the knowledge and the experience, and how can we support each other? This for us is important. How do we build this kind of foundation and framework for it? Yeah, and for this we need to be also a business space. Like we have to have a business part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But not everything is paid with HappyCow because people can just, Google search and you guys come up with top 10 lists and, little snippets about certain businesses. So it's just that the app is the paid feature, right?
Yes. Actually, right now, the web version is free and Android version is free as well. For now, iOS version is paid, but our long-term goal is to make it free as well. So we want to transition from the app being paid to actually earning through listing businesses. So we imagine that we have just created this partner program last year, which means that as a business, you can advertise on HappyCow. So you can highlight your business on HappyCow. And we imagine this should be the way that we earn, not from the user. So we want to open up to as many users as possible. We want everyone to be able to use HappyCow. We want this resource to be fully available. And through this, the main beneficiary of this is the business who is exposed to those new customers. So we want to get somewhere in between. We want to charge an appropriate amount, like not too much, and something that will help us keep on going and something that will help us keep on growing, but not something that, will be restrictive and is directly connected to the value that those businesses get from it. So there's a healthy model behind it. I think my dream is for the app to be available to everyone and um, and have as little ads as possible, but there has to be a balance in it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no such thing as a free lunch, as economists like to say and share with
Yeah,
us. So, regardless if people are using the app or going online, there are a ton of places, but it's just not all food on Happy Cow. There are other things that people can find as well, right?
that's true. We list other categories as well. So we would do list professionals, we do list Airbnb, not Airbnb, sorry, BNBs. It almost
Veg
became
B&Bs.
veg BNBs. Yeah, Airbnb became such a strong brand. Now in my mind, it's always like Airbnb and not just BNB.
Right, right. It's like Kleenex.
Yeah. Um, we yeah we list catering places and veg shops. So we try to incorporate every vegan business into our world. Still, the majority of our listings are either restaurants or shops with vegan food. But we're trying to expand. We think this is the way to go. We want to give platform for everyone who runs an ethical business to connect to the customers that we have on our platform.
And it's vegan businesses with a storefront too, right? I think I remember reading something about that if you were a online business that wasn't quite the right thing for Happy Cow at this time. Or am I wrong?
I think this is not really happening right now. This is not our focus, but it is something that we will look into in the future.
As you expand.
For now,
yeah.
Yes, for now we're focusing on map and on things that you can find, things that you can walk to.
That makes sense, especially for travelers. Given that it's more of a traveler-focused app, people want to visit things in person. That would be kind of a bummer to find a really amazing croissant place and to find out that they're only by order only.
Yeah.
So with all of these places, which there are a ton on Happy Cow, how in the world do you find all of them? How do you keep them up to date? Unfortunately, you know as well as I do, businesses close fairly regularly, which is heartbreaking, and it's a full-time job to keep that stuff up to date.
Definitely. We actually have a team of editors. Pretty much the core of Happy Cow are editors who make sure that our data is updated, make sure that our data is accurate. The big idea behind Happy Cow, or the big differentiator, is that every listing on Happy Cow is always going through an editor's hands. Somebody will check if this place actually has vegan options. Somebody will check if it's enough for us to list them, because we will not list any business. Like if you just have French fries and you're in an area where there are many vegan options, like we're not going to list this as, okay, you can eat French fries in the vegan mecca.
But French fries and lettuce, maybe. That is everybody's favorite combination.
But all of it is coming from community. So all the contributions are coming from people who are traveling around the world, or locally they're finding new places that have vegan options or are fully vegan or vegetarian. These listings are submitted to our database, and then there's a process of review. And through this review, we make sure we also enhance those listings. We make sure the description is proper. And through this, we are creating our database. Of course, with database such as ours, like we have over 220,000 restaurants right now, there will be some inaccuracies. And as time goes by, changes happen. As you said, some places go out of business, some places change their opening hours or other details of their business. but we're trying to be on top of it. So we also enable users, and we ask them to report any changes that they see. If, for example, you bump into the doors of a place because it was actually closed, it's a very disappointing experience. We want to avoid this as much as possible. But if you're the one who did it, like, we ask you to, please, can you report to us? We'll review it. We'll make sure that this is up to date from now on.
That's a really nice way to be able to do that. That takes some pressure off of your editors, I'm sure, to have to scour the internet and see. And sometimes something's not marked on Google, but yes, indeed, the business closed. So that's a really nice feature for people using it and people perusing it.
Yeah, it's definitely the core of what we do, right? We are essentially a platform that exposes this. Like, without community, we are not really there. We need we are something that enables community to communicate with themselves. We are just a facilitator in this process. We make sure that the data is structured properly, that it can be searchable, it's displayed on the map. So we create tools around the data that people. It's almost like there's this big group of people. Everyone is saying, "Hey, I've seen this place. I've seen this place. This place is great. I like this place." So we're just trying to be something that segregates all of those inputs and create something that you can actually understand in the specific context.
That's a really good segue actually into my next question. I was going to ask you about the community because that has been a huge part of, the 25-year growth of the organization. But having any kind of a community for any type of an organization, especially one of your size, can come with some difficulties. So how do you foster, building that community, keeping it strong, keeping them engaged, but also balance the goals of HappyCow?
That's a great question, and it requires, I guess, a lot of work and a lot of commitment. I think our community is, I think, the best community to work with because everyone is really engaged. People really believe in what they're doing. It's not like a shopping community or whatever other communities there can be. People truly believe that being a vegan is an important part of their lives, and it's an important part of everyone's lives, maybe in the future. They really believe in the mission. They really want to contribute. We see, like, I'm meeting with our users when I travel, and I see the most amazing people everywhere. Just, it makes me really want to work harder for the community. But we are creating the platform. We make sure that we listen. We make sure that we make it up to date. But we also foster this closer community of ambassadors. We make sure that there are people who are the leaders of the local communities. I guess basically that are the leaders of the community. I think the biggest work done was done by Eric. So throughout 25 years, Eric has traveled a lot and met with a lot of people around the world, and he pretty much is in touch. Like, I don't know how he does it, but he still is in touch with everyone, with so many owners, with so many ambassadors, with so many users. He's just the core of our community, I would say. And yes, we as HappyCow, we make sure to engage with our ambassadors. We make sure to create special mailing lists for them, to get in touch, to listen to what they have to say, to meet with them. To be honest, at the time we're not doing an amazing job of this. Maybe over the last year and a half, this was mostly focused on standing up after COVID, right? So, like, we had to refocus on our business model, on how to make sure that we are stable and we are we can grow into the future. But this is the essential part of HappyCow. the community, people who build it.
Has there been feedback from the community that you've received that has then caused you guys to add new features or like very specifically shaped how the app or the website function?
Yeah, of course, all the time. Like it's all about the feedback, and it's all about what the community needs and how do they see it. I don't know if there are any specific features that are added like this. Maybe the last update that we've done was for search. We've heard a lot of people having issues with the way it was designed before, and but we have countless feedback. It's actually it's um, it's an amazing thing to work with such a big community. From my experience before, I was working in a company where we had maybe 5,000 users. So talking to them and getting to know what they really need was a bit of a challenge. Here, it's almost the opposite. Like we hear so many voices, we hear so many needs. For us, it's a question of how do we prioritize this? How do we make sure that we hear everyone and hear the use cases, what they need. Some people will have very specific needs, and we have to decide how to address them, or if we even can address them. But there will be people who, we have our community, we have outside communities of vegans, maybe on forums like Reddit, that will also comment on HappyCow and what it is and what it should be. And we listen, of course. Like it's the most valuable thing to have, even if it doesn't feel right at the time, and it's like, oh my god, like I'm responsible for this, and people don't like it. It's our role to eat the ego and just find a way to address this issue. So definitely, community is driving the product. It is what's making it happen.
And that's such a good reminder for people to provide feedback. I mean, constructive feedback. I'm not telling everybody out there to just go and voice their issues about everything to everybody. But constructive feedback can be really helpful to a business, and leaving comments and making suggestions, because you never know, it could end up as a feature, and it can really help shape how something functions and be helpful to other people. So it's always something for especially travelers and vegans to keep in mind, as we want companies to evolve and grow and continue to build our vegan empire that takes over the world.
Definitely. And then the vegan castle for cows.
Yeah, absolutely. Because after all the cows have been through, they deserve a castle.
Let's not forget about the castle.
Yeah, absolutely. We cannot. I think that moves up on the priority list.
Yeah.
Do you think that, given the global reach of HappyCow, that HappyCow has contributed kind of to the global growth of veganism and the availability of options in different parts of the world?
I hope so. I really think so. I really believe that is the case. It's even the case for me personally. My journey, it started almost like through HappyCow. Almost the first day that I decided to become vegetarian and then vegan. The first thing I actually decided about it in Thailand, and finding food that's vegan maybe like 8 years ago in Thailand without HappyCow would be really hard. So it became such an essential tool for me, and almost I can imagine not having HappyCow and just being frustrated and making it such a hard process to go through. But with HappyCow, it was just, I wouldn't say it was super easy. It's always, this kind of change always takes effort, but it really enabled me to be vegan and to be a happy vegan and happy cow. But yeah, and we hear stories like this from everywhere. We see that HappyCow is an essential tool, both at the beginning of your journey when you're transitioning into being vegan, and as you are a vegan and you travel around the world. especially traveling is complicated, and depending on the country, some places really are hard to communicate, hard to find vegan spots, how to identify what is actually vegan and what isn't. So definitely Happy Cow, I think it's enabling veganism around the world. And my hope is that in the future we'll do it in a larger scope even than now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like, for omnivores where you just walk down the street and you can walk into anywhere. I mean, I guess as vegans, you can walk into quite a few places and get French fries, but we don't want to go somewhere and just settle. And so having something like that to be able to just, know, okay, there are 20 places in this city and I've got Google Maps out and I can get to this one in 20 minutes or this one or 10, or there's actually one around the corner in 5. That completely changes your trip and enhances the experience. And the first time I heard about Happy Cow, I was in Rome and we stayed, where did we stay? Kind of off the beaten path a little bit. And I think I had maybe newly become vegan and I was struggling a little bit. And we just happened to walk by this restaurant that had a sign out front and it said vegan options. And I was thinking, really? Vegan options at this place? Like, it did not look like any kind of a serious place. And so we walked in and the waitress, asked us to come in. And so I asked her, I said, you have vegan options? And she goes, oh, yes. We have a vegan menu. And I thought, oh my God, do you have a vegan menu? I mean, people, this is before vegan menus were more of a popular thing. And then she goes, did you find me on HappyCow? And I was like, what's a hippie cow? And she goes, no, happy. Matt and I both laughed so hard and was like, I don't know about a happy cow. I don't know about a hippie cow. Please tell me more about these cows. So ever since, anytime I think about Rome or anytime I think about Happy Cow, I think about that place. And actually, the story gets even better because it stayed with its really great vegan menu for many years. But then I think it was last year, or maybe it was the year before, but in the most recent couple of years, it has gone completely vegan. So, I mean, maybe it was the hippie cows that did it. Hey there, fantastic listeners. Let's hit pause on this episode for a thrilling announcement, a golden ticket to Globetrot with Veggies Abroad. Veggies Abroad isn't just your go-to for vegan guides and trip planning tips. It's your passport to extraordinary small group journeys, carefully crafted by the ultimate veggie pusher and your favorite podcast host, me, Rebecca Gady-Sawicki. I've spent countless hours researching the best vegan hotels, food, and experiences, and now I'm bringing those experiences directly to you. Join me and my newfound veggie pals on escapades to exciting and exotic destinations around the world. Whether it's trekking through the Thai jungle to witness elephants in their natural habitat or staying at a carbon-neutral camp in Kenya during the Great Migration, our adventures are nothing short of spectacular. And guess what? Those aren't the only exciting trips awaiting you. So what are you waiting for? Cruise on over to veggiesabroad.com pronto. Well, how about after this episode is over to explore our dazzling lineup of 2024 trips and secure your spot on your next vegan adventure today.
Maybe so. I think I even know the place that you're talking about. That's such a great story. Yeah, I think a lot of people share the same idea. Like, even now that you told the story, the place that I went to first with Happy Cow is actually the place that I still go to. It's still one of my favorite places in Bangkok to go to and have vegan food. And I remember feeling so relieved when I saw Happy Cow sticker saying this is a vegan place. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's amazing.
I don't speak Thai, or I didn't at the time. And it made me just like, whatever I'm going to point to, I know that I'm not gonna eat it, and especially in places like this, in places that serve. This is actually a Buddhist Thai place that serves a lot of food that looks like meat, with fake meat. So you never know because they're so good at making it that it looks like chicken. And do I want to eat it? Do I want to risk it? Definitely not. But you have the sticker. There's a cow that's happy on it. you look into her eyes and like you can get anything.
And she's so happy.
Yes, she's happy and I'm happy,
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It doesn't get any better than that for sure. You guys recently released a 2023's list of the most vegan friendly cities around the world. Were there some surprises to you and your team about cities that were new to this list or cities that fell off?
it's a good question. I think for me personally, I was very happy to see Paris on this list because for a long time I've been traveling to France. So part of my family lives there, and it was always a struggle. For some reason, French people are very like, I don't know. I don't want to sound judgmental, and I'm not. I
They
think this
love
is just a
cheese.
they do love cheese, right? And they do
Yes.
love their cuisine. And I
Yes.
think this outside vegan movement that was growing in the world, it was really hard to get there. And I even remember a couple of years ago, I was looking at stats, and I think at the time in Poland, vegan percentage was about 5% of people in Poland were vegan, and I think in France it was maybe 1%. So whenever I went there, it was really hard to find something that's not cheese or egg based. But now Paris is just an amazing place to go to. Amazing pastries, great vegan cheese. Like it's a paradise for me now to go there.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
absolutely. The diversity of things has
great.
really become kind of crazy, especially just it almost kind of feels like within the last 5 years or so, Paris has really picked up the pace.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and now we see top 10 vegan friendly cities in the world, and it really is like this. And it really is much easier to find vegan food in Paris than it was before. We definitely see Germany being very strong. So they have both Berlin and Hamburg. And we also know that, Germany as a country is investing in plant-based food. I think there's right now a big government package that's aimed to equalize the prices of vegan products and non-vegan products. So as you know, non-vegan products like milk and eggs and meat are subsidized by government. So that's the reason why when you go buy tofu, it's more expensive than cheese. And it just doesn't make sense because if you think about the amount of labor, the area of land that has to go into production of both of those, economically it wouldn't make sense. But because of the scale and because of subsidies, it does make sense. So Germans are really on the road to change it for themselves and maybe pave the road for everyone on how to do it. But you can see that so many Germans are becoming vegan. It's amazing to see. I want to see it everywhere.
Yeah, agreed.
Which is a hard thing to say for somebody who's Polish or our I think Polish people are very prejudiced historically, but I'm not, of course. I love everyone.
That is a really interesting point you raise about Germany, and they're not the only country that has kind of taken I guess you could say maybe a greener stance governmentally. Denmark has also invested in or made a big investment or announced a big investment, maybe I should back that up, in plant-based technology and also incentivizing farmers to grow food that will be used for human consumption instead of animals. And they are also investing further in having options at schools and I think governmental meetings. And then where we met in South Korea, they are also doing some of that as well too, which I think is a really interesting trend, which I think will have an effect kind of on travel and what we might see for vegan friendly cities in the future. Do you think HappyCow will play a role in helping any of these countries as they look to make their governmental policies more greener and invest in these technologies?
Yes, I definitely hope so. And we actually already have started working with Korea. That this is where we met last year. because South Korea is they have a goal of becoming more vegan friendly. They have great resources for that. They have vegan Buddhist veganist maybe. Uh, that's just amazing food with chefs now all around the world. And South Korea is realizing that vegan movement is becoming mainstream, and they want to open up their options for everyone in the world. And I think HappyCow is just uniquely positioned to help them with this. We see how it works in pretty much every country in the world. We can help them understand what are the biggest issues that people are facing when they're traveling. Like even this year, we actually did a lot of research on this. We asked people that travel to Korea, what are the biggest struggles when they go there? How can we help? And just having this community with us that actually have been there and have experienced this firsthand, this is such an amazing tool and such a powerful tool. And through this, we understand, okay, people are facing issues with hidden animal products. For example, like kimchi always has fish sauce, or like almost always. There are places where it doesn't, but it's not known to everyone. It's not known. It wasn't obvious to me when I came there. I always thought we actually in Poland we ate a lot of kimchi, but we always bought vegan kimchi unknowingly, or like maybe knowingly. But somehow I imagined that kimchi is just cabbage with chili, and never imagined all those animal products going into it. And I think a lot of people make the same mistake. They go in, and then halfway through the trip, you just start feeling bad because somebody told you, well, you've been eating fish sauce for a long time, or like you've been eating some other animal products. But also, just I think this is one of the issues that we discovered, but it was really strange to see how with the word vegan, it means something different for Koreans. So this was an interesting observation. But in Korea, the word vegan is more like word eco for us, or more like organic. Or organic is a good example because organic means something different in Europe. It means something different in US. And vegan doesn't mean vegan in Korea. It can be lacto-vegan. It can be pesco-vegan. Vegan means just it's more closer to organic. Maybe it means kind of healthy, or maybe trendy, or maybe something it's becoming a word that in this context, in Korean context, it changes the meaning. So for us as HappyCow, this is something to discover, and this is something to help the government help with. So how do we educate people on what vegan means, or how do we create different wording for this, or help them create different wording? How do we make sure that people who travel to Korea feel safe with their choices? All of this is a lot of fundamental work that we feel as HappyCow we are with our community, we are able to help. We are able to give outside perspectives of other countries, like such as Thailand, such as Germany. How do these countries deal with this idea, and how can you learn from it? So definitely, we are actually very excited about this. This is such a big leverage if we could help entire countries become more vegan friendly, and create tools for the countries to expose their vegan options to travelers. And I think it's well connected with the globalization of vegan movement, and with the mainstreaming, maybe because we see vegan movement growing worldwide. So it's becoming also an economic factor, which helps us push this agenda for the vegan world. And the castle. I'm sorry, I just want to add it at the end.
It's always back to the castle. We always have to keep the castle in mind.
Yes.
I think it also legitimizes the movement as well too. We had talked when we were in Korea a little bit I reach out to a lot of tourism orgs to, do projects with them to promote options through Veggies Abroad. And the amount of times I get either laughed out of the room or ignored is kind of sad. But then when you start to see these countries who are investing in these technologies and making, a real stance with it, and then, hosting groups and doing that, it really brings light that this is an important thing. We have to look at it. When you start to, make your climate goals, governments can't be ignoring that a vegan diet is going to help them reach those goals and is an important part of any kind of sustainability conversation. So, I think that is, great. And then using the information and the statistics that you guys can present, given the community that you've built, is massive, and that can change how restaurants operate and promote options. It can help in so many ways. You guys are a huge tool that so many countries, cities, businesses should be utilizing for sure. It's an untapped resource.
Definitely. And we also do connect the community, right? So we have such amazing ambassadors in Korea of HappyCow, people who really are involved in the vegan movement, really know how it is there. So we as HappyCow are also a great place to connect with those people and to make sure that they can contribute as well. They are actually the ones who would be leading this, but with help of HappyCow as a platform.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I think the dog in the background is also commending us and agreeing with us, I have to say. He's a very enthusiastic participant in this episode. And maybe he's another ambassador that you guys should tap into.
He's a happy dog.
He is a happy dog. How does someone go about becoming an ambassador?
That's a good question. So an ambassador would be selected from our community. These are people who have most contributions, who will be actively adding venues, adding reviews. And then once you reach a certain threshold, once your contributions are larger, we usually can reach out to people like this, and we have an internal process of making sure that people are aligned with our values, that they will be representing HappyCow and HappyCow's values. So there's a process from through contribution, somebody becomes a candidate for an ambassador, and then through a process of verification, we make sure that somebody is an ambassador.
That sounds like a really neat opportunity for people who really like to travel and really like to share about it. It could be a really fun way to get involved with all of the Happy Cows in the Happy Cow community.
Definitely.
So there's always change in the tech world, and there's always change in the vegan space. And as you guys kind of look ahead to the rest of 2024 and into 2025, are there changes that might be on the horizon that users should keep a lookout for, or things that you're particularly excited about?
There are. I'm not sure if I'm ready to...
or the ones that you can share, I should have said.
what we have in plans. But there are definitely trends in tech and in vegan world that we have to react to, and we have to incorporate in HappyCow. One of them is that we've seen, this is actually, it's a bit bittersweet, this thing that's happening, but through mainstreaming of vegan movement, we see that more and more veg option places have just amazing vegan options. They have, like as you said, a separate menu with just vegan options. And what this creates is we see the space is growing. So year over year, we have more and more places, more and more restaurants that are available. But we also see that some of those places are competing with purely vegan places or purely vegetarian places. So on our end, we want to address it in a way. We want to make sure that we do what's right for the community, and we we do what's right for the businesses that also are trying to participate in this movement. So, but there aren't any changes that I can share with you at the moment about this. What we're also focusing on is enabling travel. So tools for people who, for example, travel to Korea. So how can we make it easier for you? How can we make you feel more safe? And this feature is still unannounced, so I will not announce it. I'm sorry, I can't really.
It's okay.
give you
It's things for
any-
them to look out for.
any-
Maybe a reason to join your newsletter.
Definitely, and the reason to follow us online. We have a lot in plans. We want to make sure that we, as a tool for vegan travelers, we stay relevant. We know that there's Google Maps, which is an amazing tool. Again, I would be stupid not to say that this is not a great tool for everyone and everything. But we as HappyCow, we still want to remain relevant in this space. We want to be a tool that you use with pleasure, that you use that's really useful to you. So we are focusing this year on UX, on how to make the app more usable, how to make it more friendly, how to make it more reliable. This part of the app, this will be getting better and better this year, for sure.
And for those who don't know what UX means.
Oh, UX is a user experience. So it means pretty much anything that happens from the moment that you start the app to the moment where you find the place that you're looking for. So maybe how easy it is to find the place, how much time does it take to load, like what kind of things happen on your screen. Are you distracted by maybe some information? Maybe it's hard to find the specific information that you're looking for. Maybe it's hard to filter if you are allergic to gluten. How do you filter by only gluten-free options? How easy it is to find it. So we're trying to make sure that this experience of anyone who's looking for vegan food in any specific circumstance is much easier. This is our key goal for this year. It is also something that's being voiced by our community. Like I believe that we are an amazing resource, and we have amazing database and community. And I think if we focus on UX, and if we step up our game there, we can really shine.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you have some really exciting things that will be coming down the pipe for you guys in the future to make the cows happier in the HappyCow fields. So people should make sure that they stay up to date with all of that. My last and maybe my most important question for you: what's your favorite vegan-friendly place to visit in the world, and why?
Definitely my favorite vegan-friendly place in the world is Bangkok in Thailand. Just such richness of flavors and different cultures and different varieties of vegan food. You can get anything from European style of food to Thai, to Chinese, to Indian. And Bangkok also has such a powerful food culture. I think people, it's not a secret to anyone who knows me, but I'm in love with Thailand. Like this is one of my favorite countries in the world. I love how people here are very kind, and it really, for me, it really is the land of smiles. I really feel like I'm almost like a part of a family here, of a tribe, of a human tribe, and I feel welcomed. And I think the same happens through food. Like food here in Bangkok specifically is more like it's been created by somebody who cares about me and somebody who cares about what they're doing. It's less of a business. Most of the time, it's less of we do this, how do we optimize this small business that we have to sell more food, or like to make it cheaper, or to make it sell more. I feel that the food that's created here is more like created with love and with joy, and you can feel it. You can feel the flavors, you can feel the richness of it. The only downside is that whenever I come back, it's really hard to readjust to either Polish food or other foods, which are great, by the way. Like Polish vegan scene is also really good, but there are just levels. For me, Bangkok is way up there.
That makes sense. I mean, Poland is making some changes though. Krakow, Warsaw, their scenes have become more veggie friendly in the last, handful or so of years, right? But
Yeah,
not like Bangkok.
Warsaw is still in the top 20. I think this year, unfortunately, Warsaw fell out top 10, but last year it was top 10 top vegan friendly cities. But definitely we are catching up. I have, of course, a lot of my friends in Krakow are in vegan businesses. And some of places are even, vegan without telling people they're vegan, which I really love. I love this trend of having a cafe that's just an amazing cafe on the corner, and they have croissants, and they have coffee, they have sandwiches, and all of it is vegan, but they don't really say they're vegan. So people just come in, they eat stuff, they're happy, and then maybe once in a while somebody will ask like, "Oh, why is this milk not white, but like maybe a bit grayish
Yeah.
when you add it to the cappuccino?" And then they realize, and somehow they were converted without even knowing. I hope this is what's happening.
They were vegan by stealth, these businesses. This is
Exactly.
very interesting. I was listening to a story about a cafe in London that did this, but this was years ago. And so they called themselves a cruelty-free cafe, but never said anything was vegan. And then over time, I think they started to add the word vegan in. But they also feel like at the time when they launched the cafe, they wouldn't have been able to be successful. But now things are different in London. I mean, it's London for
Yeah,
heaven's sakes. So you can be whatever you want to be. That's a really cute story of the place in was it Krakow? Did you say?
it's in Krakow. It's called Szklarnia, which is hard to pronounce for anyone who's not Polish. It's a great place. There's also amazing bakery and best bakery in Krakow, and they're vegan, but they're also not advertised as vegan. And I think most of their clients are actually not vegan. They just don't really realize that they're eating vegan food. And maybe one day there's going to be this big reveal. Aha, you've been vegan for this many days already. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, right. I would like to be present for that reveal,
Yeah.
especially like with things like ice cream or cheese, and people like have such a disdain for trying the vegan product that then when
Yeah.
they do or they have been like having it, and then they realize and they're like, oh my God, this was actually tasty. I don't know why I was putting up such a fuss about doing it in the
Yeah.
first place. It's silly.
But it is also changing, right? Like I think over the last years, really the vegan food is stepping up. And even this year we've been on a meetup in Bangkok and we ate vegan cheese. Really, I would say one of the best cheeses I've ever had. And in Bangkok, I not a place where I would expect to eat amazing vegan cheese,
Right.
but it's really changing. It's really becoming. I think like my personal theory is that we've spent so much time inventing food that's not vegan, and it takes time to get from there's an idea of we're gonna create pancakes, and then getting pancakes from like just the flour and water to something that's really tasty and fluffy, and like how do you improve this process. But we did it for non-vegan products, but now for vegan products it also takes years and iterations, and with every year the food is getting better and better, and I can see explosion of great recipes on Instagram, and it's just mouth-watering every time I look at it. Like, oh my God, I want to go home and cook it. It just looks so good.
Yeah.
And this changes. I think 5 years ago, the recipes that you could find, some of them were good, but they weren't like, oh my God, this is like the best thing that I've ever seen anyone make.
Yeah, I agree. It has really changed. And like, I mean, cookbooks, everything, and the diversity of different things that you can find. You'd mentioned Hamburg earlier as one of the top 10 cities. I was there in September, sometime late last year. And I was really blown away by the fact that you could find almost every type of cuisine vegan. And, if you've rewound 8 years ago, that would have been unheard of. You may have gotten a vegan burger and a salad and I don't know, maybe one other thing, nachos. And today it's just if you want Korean, you can find Korean. If you want fancy cakes and pastries, you can find that. If you want, I don't know, shawarma, you can find that. It's really awesome to see the evolution and change. And I'm really excited to see what happens in the next 5 years.
Yeah, definitely.
It can only keep getting better, especially if HappyCow is involved.
And then we can build the castle.
Yes. Always. The castle is always on the list.
I think this is what's happening, right? This mainstreaming is already foreshadowing this. Because it just makes, I'm thinking a lot about how are we not all vegan? And how was I not vegan for a long time? And how are people still stuck in this old idea that meat-based diets or even just dairy or egg-based diets are the only right choice? And there has been years of traditions and years of dependence on this kind of products. You can also see it when you travel around the world, how it seems it's much easier to become vegan in Poland or in US than it is in Laos or in Cambodia or where this tradition is just behind. But I think now we're stepping into this era where it's just such a no-brainer, and you can see the young generation, the new generations, they are much more vegan than our generations were, and it's just such an optimistic thing to look forward to, and especially with the food getting even better, with all the companies creating substitutes like Just Egg. I'm a big sucker for Just Egg. I would go to US just to bring a suitcase full of it because we don't have it in Poland. Of course I wouldn't. But if I go, I would pack less and less of my stuff just because I know, I'm gonna take those trousers, but this could be a Just Egg. So this is the thing. This is the thing that happens. So we have those products, and they're really out there. I think the only thing that's stopping us right now is this tradition and this idea that was relevant 20 years ago, and it wasn't relevant 100 years ago and 200 years ago, but now it's just an empty unrelated idea. It has to fade away.
Yes, it's breaking the cycle of we've always done it this way, and how could you change tradition conversation that needs to keep evolving and broken down. And slowly it's happening. I think we're only going to continue to get greener and greener and more veggie friendly as the days tick by. So
Definitely.
If people want to, follow along with the HappyCow or the happiest of the HappyCows online, where should they go to find you guys?
Well, they can find us on happycow.net. That's our main website. You can find us on Instagram, and that's a good place to connect with us. If you want to connect with me directly, you can. I don't know where you can find me. You can
that was kind of a letdown. You can't. You are the sneaky HappyCow.
I'm the sneaky HappyCow. I wouldn't say I'm the happiest HappyCow, but yeah, I'm always open to connecting with people. And if you by the way, if you feel like you have talents that you see yourself using at HappyCow, you can always reach out to us. We are not currently hiring right now, but we will be in the future. So if this is your calling, if you feel like, oh my God, it would be so great to do what I do. I have a passion, but I'm using it maybe this is more connecting to my personal story where I was working at the startup and gaining all those skills, but it was always for something that I didn't truly believe in. If you think this is your case as well, and you want to use your amazing skills somewhere where it has meaning and it builds positive change in the world, not saying that your job isn't doing this right now, whoever is listening, but there's a way, and we're here, and I'm here, so you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Instagram. You can just write to HappyCow. You can write to Bartek at happycow.net. That's my email address. I'm always happy to hear from you, to hear from anyone who has anything to say about HappyCow. Yeah.
That is a very nice invitation.
Any feedback you have, it's always helpful.
Well, people, I hope you take him up on that offer and send him constructive feedback and help keep the happy cows happy over in the happy cow land so that we can build this castle, because these cows are going to be very sad if they don't get this castle.
That's what they keep on telling me.
Much. Right. Well, Bartek, it has been lovely to chat with you and catch up and learn more about the behind the scenes of what's going on over at HappyCow. And I can't wait to see what happens next.
Me too. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for inviting me and giving me this space to talk about HappyCow.
Anytime. You are more than welcome. Hopefully you come back.
I hope so.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, please consider subscribing and leaving a review. If you'd also like to learn more about upcoming Veggies Abroad tours or get additional travel help, visit veggiesabroad.com and also join our newsletter. It's the best way to stay up to date with loads of new content, like where to find gorgeous vegan hotels, what to eat in cities around the world, trip planning tips, and so much more. Well, that's all I've got for now. Until next time.